What's up everyone, my name is Rosendo, welcome back to my channel, and we are back with another video, and it has been a while since I've recorded a video like this. We're back with another track breakdown, but we are breaking down Retaliation V2. My latest track is out, but I don't see why we need to put it off any longer. But again, like I said, let's get into it. A lot of things I want to go over. Sure, my energy levels are going to be low, so let's not put it off any longer. Let's hop into FL Studio. All right, we are back in FL Studio taking a look at Retaliation V2. Man, I feel like it's been forever since I did a track breakdown. Where did I used to start? 74 mixer tracks, all these patterns right here, and a 36-hour track, which I found hard to believe, but I remember making this project file from scratch and opening it. But this was a tough track. I've mentioned that in I think some of my recent track breakdowns, that this next track I've been working on is really tough. Retaliation V2 was really tough to get right, and a track that has a lot of concepts behind it. So the big thing is it's called Retaliation V2, even though Retaliation V1 isn't out. So what's up with that? Definitely something we're going to talk about. So why don't we actually get to talking about the track? All right, Retaliation V2. This is going to be a long segment. Check the timestamps, people. Why did I make this track? Why did I call it Retaliation V2? Let's start with the track Inception. How was this track originally started? I was scrolling through Splice one day randomly trying to find good samples for stuff, and I think one day I opened it and I found a new releases page on Splice. Like, hey, these new tracks are out for you. So I opened this sample pack. Arcando DS Arcando, it like had just come out, right? And I see it, and I see it's Arcando. I recognize the artist. I'm like, hey, let me see if they have any cool samples in there, just for fun, not with the intention of I'm going to make a track. It just came out. I thought maybe I can find a sample no one's used before. I go to it and I find this sample right at the top. Something's not right. That's better. The sample's right at the top. I hear it. I like it. I notice it's a drum and bass thing. I thought, hey, maybe like a drum and bass track, cool, like 172 BPM. Let's throw it in my DAW and let's mess around, right? Here's what happened next. I like the sample. I drag it into my DAW. I'm like, hey, cool. I can hear a song. It's a labeled song starter. I think to myself, I can hear a song starting with this. You know, what else can I add? The instinct and the natural reaction is to go through that sample pack and pull out more samples, you know, from that sample pack, see if there's anything else cool. And not only that, the instinctive reaction is this sample is labeled under collide, right? This in that sample pack, this sample we're gonna call category is labeled under collide. So the instinctive reaction is to go and find other samples labeled under collide and seeing what you can find. And all of a sudden, a track starts to come together, and then you get a chorus in here. You do a bunch of stuff. You start dragging stuff in. You start making a track, and in less than 5 minutes, a track is coming together. But deep down, and I hope other artists agree, deep down, there's something unsatisfactory, and frankly, something that you don't feel proud of, just making a track just by dragging not only samples from the same pack, but just pre-made samples already together, which isn't to say samples are cheating. I'm not going to get into that today, which isn't to say samples are cheating, but making an entire song and track and something that should be art out of just samples that you kind of gathered and like essentially like puzzle pieces. You're just making a track by putting puzzle pieces together from Splice. There's something that doesn't feel good about it. There's something that I don't think we should be that didn't make me feel proud or accomplished. And there's something that I think is very unartistic about that. And it kind of reminded me of another track that I made. Another track that I called Retaliation. I have this track idea in my head that I consider it a track that an idea that I have, a track in conception. I just haven't actually made it, called Retaliation V1, which is one of these days, I'm just going to make a track exactly like that. I'm going to take drum and bass samples and I'm going to drag them in there, and I'm going to make a drum and bass heater by just dragging samples in there, maybe adding a few things in there. So when I came to this track, when I found this sample and I dragged it in, and when I found this sample and I dragged it in, when I found this sample and I dragged it in, I started dragging in more samples, and I came up with a track idea that I was really liking. I thought, well, here's Retaliation V2. This is where it kind of started to get the idea of, you know what, here are some samples that I like, that I kind of have, that I appreciate and that I think could make something good. let's put my spin on it. Let's take these samples. Let's make something artistic. Let's show that I could have just dragged these samples in here, but I didn't. I strayed away and I made something greater than if I had just dragged these samples in here. All right, so that's about it. Timestamp here. Let's actually start breaking down the track. When you actually start the track, it's slow, it's inactive, it's rhythmically ambiguous. And you start to realize, just like in the night intro, the good news is I don't have to repeat myself nearly as much because I already said this all in night. Just like the night intro, when you have something inactive, slow, that forces you to commit to listening to it, you already frame the experience in a different way. That is storytelling. That is what we talked about. Starting slow and starting inactive so that you force yourself to be immersed in the listening experience. Speaking of listening experiences, when you know this track is going to be a puzzle piece track, but you start with slow saws, you already get the idea of, okay, you could have started the track straight up with the puzzle pieces, but you made an intentional decision to start it a different way. Oh man, you open up that cutoff and it's so nice. That's the big thing here. The intro, it does a really good job of kind of framing that experience. Again, most of it is so inactive, and it gives you the kind of the perspective and the immersion, not the immersion, but kind of gives you the perspective and the idea of layering the puzzle pieces with different things. But when you open up that pad kind of drastically, it just adds the character that you want, that shows that, you know, you want to kind of take a stab at the listener's heart by just opening up those pads drastically and giving it different kind of character and elements and a feel to it by realizing that you're adding the puzzle pieces, you're progressing in a normal way. No, 180. Forget that progression. We're taking you exactly where I want to take you with these puzzle pieces. We're not just throwing puzzle pieces in there, but I'm taking you exactly where I intend to take you. Build it up, big pads. The intention here is, that's the sample, but the first thing you hear is, you cut off that last word, heart. But the idea here is that, you know, when you take these different samples and you cut them up, it gets the intention point across so much more as well, because the idea is you're throwing in these vocals to give the track character, not to build the track around the vocals. So although it adds kind of atmosphere and character to this section where we drop the drums, the bass turns into a reese, we get big open pads, the intention is the same where, you know, it's about being creative with these samples, rejecting what they are if you want, and doing other things instead of having the character and the meaning come from these arbitrary puzzle pieces that you just found in Splice. Sidechain comes in, reese comes out, snare into an amazing drop. Disgusting right there. You take a track that demonstrates progression, that demonstrates intention, that demonstrates here, here, here. No, open it up. We're taking exactly where I want you to go. No, cut up these samples because it's not about the samples. Let's give you a nice drum and bass drop that, hey, nice plucks. This is what you can do instead of making a puzzle piece track where you just throw on some samples for the drop. Let's make a melody. Let's make it have some character. Let's make it have some really good plucks. But let's be super intentional about it, because I don't care if it's this or it's this, but I'm making an intentional decision to make it call and response, to make it atmospheric, nice, but also gritty at the same time. That gives you that character. It's showing, this track is essentially about showing what you can do and demonstrating different feelings and emotions in what could have just been a puzzle piece track. This has a lot of layers. I do kind of want to go into them. Let's just do it the fast way, starting with reese number 1. Nice. Mono sub. Nothing crazy. Soft mid. Ah, pretty nice. I don't know why it's called soft mid. Probably a lot of distortion on this. Nope. Mandatory fuzz bass. Oh, disgusting. You got your leads. There we go. Main, secondary. Nice glide. Bright pluck. Init pluck, presumably. Nope. Probably originally was. Pluck again. Panned, you'll hear. Another super saw gritty. Mandatory saws. Ooh. Response. There we go. Response. Nice. And this one? Super saws, main super saw. Fantastic. What is this? Super saw anthem. Cool. Nice one. Virtual riot, solid, and that's about it. ISO time. ISO base. ISO leads. Quite nice. ISO response. This actually, you bring this original one back down. Adds a lot of grit, adds a lot of character. Fills it up quite a bit. ISO synths. Again, it's about the movement, it's about the character, movement-based tracks. And then you get a stripped area where you just throw in the vocals, again, to show the puzzle piece roots and think, hey, this still sounds good, but this is just, instead of having this be a main attraction of the track, this is now kind of your bridge. Soft area, get the progression going again. Grit, because I control the pacing. Complete switch into something much more aggressive. Oh, listen to this. Oh, this track is disgusting. New kick, get that kind of poppy snare. Hi-hats come in. Ride comes back. Absolutely disgusting track. You give the track so much character and so much flavor and so much uniqueness in the first half. We are 3 minutes in. In the first half, showing all the different things you could do with the puzzle pieces, and you kind of reset it. You did all these things, and then you kind of go back to the start to kind of show the journey is still like, it keeps the energy moving forward. And then when you show you're going to keep moving forward, but you don't know where you're going to go. Throw in every single vocal sample, all messed up. That's early or late, I can't remember. You're showing, let's throw in all these other elements. This is a track about elements. Right here, I feel the burning. You cut it. You get the other vocal on top. Pads open up. Right here. Into a drop that, you don't really know where you're going to go, but not only do you not know where you're going to go, this drop was, at the end of the day, pretty, I've used the word beautiful before to describe drops like these, pretty beautiful. So what do? You give the listener exactly what they deserve with that beautiful drop. New melody where you weren't before, and you take similar elements, but you throw the different elements you had before, where this ride was originally on the aggressive response. You develop the beautiful call pluck with the ride on top of there. You get so much new character. And then you take the sustains that you didn't do anything with, and you put them over the other drums. But then you take their sustains you didn't do anything with no aggression, and you put them over these drums, and then you develop the melody even more, going higher with the earlier drums, and then you just kind of switch up the drum pattern from a traditional drum bass drum. So much character. Fills are back. You don't know where you're going. You take the poppy drums, you break up the super saws again, you break that up. Reverse into probably my favorite area, especially with this kick pattern. Like I said, the drums just give the track so much character, because I just got so carried away with kind of straying away from that original drum and bass pattern that there's so much character. Reverses, right in half. Outro has the sample over it. Strings, of course. Look at that 5-minute, 35-second track. Got those extra notes. Give it some tension there. And that is Retaliation V2. Main takeaways. Drums give it so much character. Vocal samples. With the vocal samples, chop them up and do whatever you want with them, because these puzzle pieces these vocals don't give the track character. What you do with it gives the track its character. Chop them up, do whatever you want, throw in different samples from different packs in different ways that just give the different flavors and rhythms and characters and melodies. Call, response, gradiness, character, not rides, progression, all this stuff. What else do you want? And there you go. That's Retaliation V2. There's nothing else I can say. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Remember, I want this channel to be a place of discussion, so leave any of your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But other than that, that is all I have for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.